It began like every great story, quietly, unexpectedly, and with two people who had no idea their lives were about to change forever. Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo, two names that would come to define a generation of viewers. Two young men, both dreamers, both fighters, both unknowingly walking into history. Before fame, Xiao Zhan was not the superstar the world now knows. He was a designer, soft-spoken, artistic, thoughtful. He created before he performed, imagining worlds on paper before he ever stood before a camera. He once said in an interview, "I never thought I'd be in front of the camera. I was happy making things beautiful behind it." But destiny had other plans. Wang Yibo, on the other hand, was pure motion, energy, rebellion, drive. He was the kind of person who couldn't sit still, who lived for adrenaline. Dancing, rapping, motorcycling, he was lightning in human form. Where Xiao Zhan was calm water, Wang Yibo was fire. And together, they became the storm. In 2018, they met on the set of The Untamed, a historical fantasy drama that no one expected would become a global phenomenon. They played Lan Wangji and Wei Wuxian, two men bound by destiny, loyalty, and something deeper, something that words could never fully describe. What began as a professional collaboration became something else. Behind the scenes, they shared jokes, food, late-night rehearsals. They learned how the other thought, how the other moved. In interviews, they teased each other effortlessly, natural, unrehearsed, real. Fans saw it instantly. They didn't just act together, they understood each other. When The Untamed aired, the reaction was seismic. Overnight, both became household names. Their faces flooded television screens, advertisements, magazines. Concert halls screamed their names. Hashtags with their initials, #Wangxian, #Boi, #Izhan, trended across countries. They were no longer actors, they were symbols. Symbols of hope, of connection, of a friendship that blurred every line. But what the world gives, it can also take away. With fame came pressure, the kind few can ever imagine. Millions of fans adored them, but millions more watched them like prey, analyzing every blink, every glance. The fandom split into factions, those who wanted to protect them and those who wanted to own them. And slowly, the joy began to fade. In early 2020, the unthinkable happened. A fanfiction scandal on a global fan site spiraled out of control. Xiao Zhan's name was dragged into it, not for something he did, but because of what others had done in his name. Within hours, brands cut ties. Songs were deleted. Accounts disappeared. The internet turned on him. He went from being China's golden boy to a ghost overnight. For weeks, he stayed silent. No statements, no posts, no interviews. Only quiet, the kind of silence that screams louder than words. Behind that silence, there were rumors that he cried for days, that he couldn't sleep, that he blamed himself for a storm he didn't create. But when he finally returned, his words were soft. He said, "I don't hate anyone. I just want to create again." And that was enough to make millions cry. During this time, Wang Yibo stood at a crossroads. The public wanted him to pick a side, to defend his co-star, or distance himself. But he didn't speak. Not because he didn't care, but because in a world where every word could be weaponized, silence was sometimes the only act of loyalty left. Fans read everything in their silence. The way Yibo avoided interviews that mentioned Xiao Zhan. The way Xiao Zhan once smiled faintly when asked about someone who helped him during his hardest time. They were never seen together again, not officially. But the connection? It never truly died. As the years passed, both men rebuilt their lives, differently but parallel. Xiao Zhan turned his pain into art, releasing music that touched souls, taking acting roles that demanded vulnerability. In every character, you could see traces of the man who had learned how to survive when the world burned around him. Wang Yibo grew sharper, colder on the outside but wiser within. He threw himself into films, into racing, into creating his own identity, one that couldn't be defined by the past. In interviews, he spoke carefully, always avoiding sensationalism, always maintaining quiet dignity. Yet in those rare moments when he mentioned friends who understand without words, fans always knew who he meant. The two of them became like parallel stars, once intertwined, now orbiting separately, forever shaped by the same explosion that made them. Even now, fans keep finding moments, a glance during an award show, a shared song lyric, a subtle gesture, signs that maybe the connection never faded. Some say it's wishful thinking. Others say it's proof that real bonds don't die, they just grow quiet. And perhaps that's the truth of Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo. Not lovers. Not rivals. Not even just friends. But two souls who met, burned brightly, and changed the world, together. Today, both stand tall on their own. Xiao Zhan, elegant, reflective, using his art to heal. Wang Yibo, focused, grounded, chasing excellence in every form. They've weathered storms that would have destroyed most. And maybe that's the most powerful part of their story, not the rumors, not the silence, but the resilience. When the cameras turn off, when the lights fade, they remain what they always were, two young men who gave everything for their dreams, and who found in each other something that fame could never manufacture. Their story isn't over. Maybe it never will be. Because somewhere, behind the noise of the world, behind the screens and the headlines, there's still a quiet truth. They understand each other. Still. After the chaos came the silence. The kind that doesn't just surround you, it consumes you. Xiao Zhan's name, once whispered in every fan group, every trending chart, disappeared for a while. His Weibo posts became rare. His interviews cautious. His smile, still there, but different. You could see the weight behind his eyes, the kind that only comes from losing something you never meant to lose. In those quiet months, he traveled less, worked in smaller circles, spent time sketching again. People close to him said he had returned to who he was before all the noise, a man who just wanted to create beautiful things. But when the Oath of Love finally aired, the world saw him again, softer, more human, more real. The fans who had left began to return. And for the first time in a long while, the comments under his name weren't full of anger or blame, but something simpler, forgiveness. Meanwhile, Wang Yibo had become an enigma. He was everywhere, yet nowhere. Films, endorsements, dance videos, motorsports. He filled every minute of his life with motion. Those who knew him said he feared stillness, because in stillness came reflection, and reflection meant remembering. During interviews, he was polite but distant. When asked about old friendships or collaborations, he'd smile faintly and say, "Everyone's growing. Everyone's busy." But there was something in the way he said it, a pause, a hesitation, that fans never missed. By late 2022, both men had reached new peaks, but in completely different ways. Xiao Zhan had turned into a symbol of perseverance, often praised for his grace under fire. Wang Yibo, on the other hand, became a quiet powerhouse, reserved, disciplined, unstoppable. Two sides of the same coin, one healing, one conquering. But destiny, it seems, doesn't forget. In early 2023, during a major awards ceremony, both men were scheduled to appear. It had been nearly 3 years since they had shared a public space. The tension online was electric. Fans waited, hoping for a glance, a nod, a miracle. When Xiao Zhan walked on stage, the audience screamed. When Wang Yibo followed, the room shook. Cameras caught it, that fleeting second when their eyes met. Just one glance. And yet, the world stopped. Social media exploded overnight. The hashtag Zhan reunion trended across Asia. People analyzed every frame, the slight upturn of Xiao Zhan's lips, the flicker in Yibo's gaze, the half-breath between them that spoke of everything they couldn't say. Neither addressed it publicly. They never do. But fans said it all, that in that one look, there was apology, pride, and the echo of a friendship too deep to destroy. Still, fame has its price. For every reunion rumor, there were voices trying to pit them apart again. Toxic whispers, hidden agendas, fan wars reignited. But both stars handled it with an eerie calm this time. No statements, no shade, just quiet strength. As if both had finally learned that silence can protect as much as it hides. Away from the cameras, life moved differently. Xiao Zhan's art exhibitions began drawing attention, sketches that depicted solitary figures by the sea, hands reaching but never touching. Many believe they represented his journey through loss and understanding. Wang Yibo's racing team grew in success. He started mentoring younger riders, often seen smiling genuinely again, something rare for years. Yet in every victory post, every behind-the-scenes photo, fans noticed small details. A necklace Xiao Zhan once wore, a lyric quoted in his caption that matched Xiao Zhan's song released months earlier. Coincidence? Maybe. But the internet doesn't believe in coincidences. Behind the glamour and trophies, the truth remained quiet, two lives still connected by invisible threads. No longer working together, yet moving in rhythms that often mirrored each other. When Xiao Zhan released a song about resilience, Wang Yibo posted a photo from a stormy racetrack the same night, captioned simply, "Still riding." And perhaps that's their story now, no longer about fame, or fandom, or even forgiveness. It's about endurance. About surviving the noise, and choosing peace over attention. About two men who found light after the darkest parts of fame, in their own ways, on their own terms. If you strip away the cameras and the endless online chatter, what remains are two artists who once changed each other's worlds, and who now live with that truth quietly tucked away, somewhere between gratitude and nostalgia. No interviews will ever capture it. No trending hashtag will ever define it. Because what they shared wasn't a story for the internet. It was something private, something sacred, something real. And maybe, just maybe, that's why it still hurts to watch. Because we saw them rise, we saw them fall, and even now, even in their silence, we still feel them. They were the perfect storm, and we, the world, were lucky enough to witness it.